On this edition of Good Day DePaul, the tent encampment on the Lincoln Park Quad, we have the update.
DePaul's proposed athletic facility, a meeting is held to address some community concerns.
And FAFSA, finally, some encouraging signs after months of frustration. I'm Michaela Wilson.
And I'm Hannah Lopez, and this is Good Day DePaul.
Gebhardt. It's now May 2nd, and we're out here on DePaul's Quad, where the encampment has continued for its third day. After an unsuccessful meeting with admin yesterday, encampment negotiators say they aren't planning on removing the encampment until all of their demands are met.
But I do think they're underestimating how long we're planning on staying here for. We're not sacrificing any of our demands, and we're going to be staying here as long as it takes.
A joint statement was released by DePaul Student Government President Parveen Mundi and the DePaul Divestment Coalition, which includes multiple organizations supporting the encampment. The statement claims that a meeting with the university's engagement team and encampment negotiators did not include administrators who hold, quote, any decision-making authority regarding the protesters' main demands. These include the university becoming more financially transparent and divesting from investments in companies or institutions that do business with Israel. Other demands include that the university, quote, call out genocide, join the city of Chicago in calling for a ceasefire, quote, assure amnesty for all encampment participants, and that the university take a stand against, quote, the doxing of encampment community members. The university has not responded to the protesters' claims or demands. While the DePaul administration continues to share updates regarding the encampment via email, negotiations between the Divestment Coalition and the university so far have not produced any agreements.
But I do not think the administration is taking us seriously.
Even when it rained this week, the protesters remained on site thanks to supplies such as tarps, ponchos, and umbrellas.
We had ponchos. Everybody came together, holding the tents down, and it, obviously, it lasted for 2 different times. But after that, we all rallied in the circle, chanting, clapping, and so I think it kind of goes to show DePaul that, rain or sunshine, we're gonna be here all day.
It's been raining on and off all day. It's pouring right now, but it's just past 11 p.m., and the third day of the encampment is nearing to a close. Now, yesterday night, CPD had warned protesters to maintain and stick to that 10 p.m. noise ordinance that goes into effect citywide, and the university also came out with a statement urging protesters to do the same thing. Going forward, the protesters say the next step is to continue negotiating with administration until their demands are taken seriously. Meanwhile, the encampment community continues to have scheduled programming throughout the day, such as a Shabbat dinner Jews for Justice hosted on the evening of Friday, May 3rd. Before and after the Shabbat, members of Jews for Justice prayed and shared their thoughts.
Our anti-Zionism rejects seeing the world through the lens of the eternal victim, unable to do any harm, and instead begs us to see ourselves as agents of change, autonomous beings, as humans who are both capable of evil and capable of fighting against our own oppression.
Jews for Justice is one of the many religious and social organizations on campus who say they're committed to supporting Palestinians and the divestment encampment at DePaul. On Sunday, May 5th, DePaul issued an alert asking students to avoid the Lincoln Park Quad as counter-protesters and pro-Palestinian protesters faced off near the north entrance of the quad. To avoid escalation between the two groups of protesters, the main entrance to the quad was blocked off by encampment protesters and monitored by the Chicago Police Department. According to a DePaul administrator, the university's public safety officers and Chicago police were continuing to work together to secure the scene at the protests and de-escalate when necessary. Matt Field, a counter-protester, feels negatively about DePaul's response to the encampment.
I think DePaul should shut this down. I think this is violent. I think Jewish students have been intimidated and harassed.
DePaul released a statement via Instagram claiming the encampment had violated multiple university policies. But Aaron, a DePaul adjunct faculty member, says he doesn't feel as if the encampment is disrupting the university's operations.
If it's not hurting anyone, and it's not stopping regular university life from happening, you know, let them continue. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it, and especially if, in my view, I feel what they're asking for is pretty reasonable.
During the demonstration on Sunday the 5th, one person was loaded onto an ambulance just off campus. No word yet on what happened. Encampment organizers and the university say they will continue to keep students and faculty informed during this time. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Lena Gebhardt.
I'm Michaela Wilson, and right now I'm at DePaul University, where earlier this week, pro-Palestinian students gathered setting up encampments. Today we're asking the DePaul community how they feel about the protests. Since the encampment went up, there's been mixed opinion at DePaul about the protest. We talked to several students to get their opinions on the effects of the protest on the campus's environment. We've concealed their identities due to concerns over possible harassment.
I fully support it because I'm for the Palestinian movement, and I think it's a good way to peacefully protest and make our thoughts heard.
It's a pretty righteous thing to do. I mean, I really applaud the people who are brave enough to go out there and to put their time on the line and to just advocate for other people and other demographics, and I think that's a very brave thing to do. So I commend them for that. Yeah, definitely.
Although some students support the protesters, others are opposed.
They have been saying many different anti-Semitic things to counter-protesters, to random people. They've been putting it on signs. Everyone has the right to protest. Everyone has the right to their own opinion, but they do not have the right to hate speech. They do not have the right to violence, and they don't have the right to shut down the university.
Other students say the protest makes them concerned about the campus safety and the enforcement of university policies.
It kind of scares me that there's so many people who aren't DePaul affiliated and they're just camping out on our campus, and it just makes me wonder that if all of these people are able to violate all these policies and everything, what are the policies in place for if they're not being enforced and random people can set up camp on our campus.
As the encampment goes on, the university is continuing to speak with protesters in hopes of reaching an agreement. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Michaela Wilson.
DePaul University is the latest institution to set up student encampments in which they are calling the liberated zones.
Like protesters at colleges throughout the country, the DePaul demonstrators are trying to get the university to divest from companies that have business or invest in Israel. Before the encampment began, the Students for Justice in Palestine at DePaul, the SJP, initiated the DePaul Divest referendum that is now on the Spring Student Government Association ballot. The question posed to students was, do you believe that the university should release its investment portfolio for public view and an affirmation of the university mission statement to compassionately uphold the dignity of all members of its diverse, multi-faith, and inclusive community, also divest from companies that directly profit from the suffering of Palestinians. Student Government President Parveen Mundi believes the referendum got on the ballot because of the help from other student organizations.
I'm really proud to say that we have, I would say, a coalition with diverse interests but shared values where, we have the cooking club, we have a club for women in animation, we have, pre-law organizations, we have a lot of cultural or identity-based groups. I'm really proud of the group that did show up for us. And so I think they had a pretty big role in pushing us over the line, in terms of meeting our signature count, because, it's like at DePaul, it's not really the question gets proposed and then we just vote immediately. You have to earn your spot on the ballot. And so that's kind of what the last, I'd say, week and a half-ish has been.
Meanwhile, Mundi said that on April 17th, the SJP at DePaul was sanctioned by the student organizations team with DePaul's Office of Student Involvement. She claims this took place a week after SJP posted on Instagram about DePaul Divest referendum. Mundi claims the sanction stated that Students for Justice in Palestine is not eligible to request approval for or post any flyers, handbills, or any other displayed materials for the remainder of the spring quarter. Good Day DePaul has not been able to confirm this with the student involvement team. Meanwhile, Mundi feels the sanction is unfair.
I very much question the way in which SJP has been immediately sanctioned is because we're anyone who any of the organizations who were willing to put their name on DePaul Divest, there's like 30 of them. And so, but the thing is, when it comes to the way the administration perceives this coalition, SJP is framed as like a ringleader of sorts. And so it doesn't even have to be an SJP member that's passing something out, but at the end of the day, they're the only organization that will actually get in trouble for passing something out. And so I had looked into that specifically because I don't think I was on campus when like flyers were being given out, but I was like, okay, I wonder who's giving them out. It wasn't even SJP.
Professor Layla Farad, the faculty advisor for SJP, provided this clarification.
There has been no actual disciplinary action through the Dean's of Students office. What has been brought up through the Office of Student Engagement is the fact that there were publicity items and postings that were not sanctioned and not passed through that office, which is a requirement for student organizations for anything that they post to get it pre-approved. So this was the second time that they had been sort of flagged on that. And what happened as a result of that is that their privileges for posting have been suspended till June 14th.
Farad says that disinvestment demands by student groups are part of a historical movement called BDS, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions.
The BDS movement has been around a good long while, and it is a very powerful, nonviolent action that many folks, especially at college institutions, and we're seeing this particularly right now in light of what's going on in Gaza and the occupied territories, we are seeing an uptick in efforts to try to convince academic institutions to look at, to make transparent and to examine their financial portfolio and to make sure that there are no investments into companies that do in fact do business in such a way that might be connected to any military action and defense systems and military system within Israel proper.
Professor Stephen Resnikoff is the director of the Center for Jewish Law and Judaic Studies at DePaul. He questions those who say the protests at DePaul have been peaceful.
I don't know what it's really accomplishing. No, I mean I don't understand what it's accomplishing. The statement says peaceful protests long been a legitimate means of expression at DePaul. That's true. But what does it mean by peaceful protest? If you're screaming at people, if you're calling them murderers, if you're calling them, if you're saying that they promote ethnic cleansing, if you say they're guilty of genocide, if you threaten to kill them, if you say you want to kill them, if you say that we should have a global intifada, which means killing Jews around the world, this is not a legitimate expression of peaceful protest. This is an expression of hatred, and it's certainly anything but peaceful.
For Good Day DePaul, I'm Hannah Lopez.
Before the encampment went up, a group of DePaul faculty members sent what they call an open letter to DePaul President Robert Manuel and Provost Salma Ghanem from Concerned DePaul faculty. The letter deals with how the faculty members feel the university should respond to those who protest the Israel-Hamas war. The group wants the university to protect the rights of students, staff, and faculty to freely express their views on existing governmental policies. The group says they understand the university's obligation to maintain a safe and welcoming environment for all members of the community, but they say they deplore the characterization of peaceful student expression of political opinions as dangerous, threatening, or hate-driven. They say that recent attempts at other colleges to violently and coercively silence, criminalize, or eliminate public expression by students, staff, and faculty have backfired and instead heightened tensions on already divided campuses. They are asking the university to protect the voices and lives of the university community.
In a separate letter to the university community, the DePaul administration also addressed the protesting of the Israel-Hamas war. The administration says it is steadfastly devoted to academic freedom and free speech. They said they're unwavering in their commitment to ensure that no acts of hatred, violence, Islamophobia, or anti-Semitism are tolerated in our community. The letter goes on to say that DePaul is committed to fostering spaces where the university community can make their voices heard. At the same time, they say they have an obligation to maintain an environment that is conducive to academic freedom and that is safe for all. They say it's their fervent desire to promote open dialogue in a spirit of peace, but go on to say that violence, harassment, or intimidation, as well as actions that interfere with university operations or damage property, will lead to immediate disciplinary actions.
Several months ago, DePaul unveiled plans for a new athletic facility on the Lincoln Park campus, but some opposed the plan, saying it would tear down some historically important homes. DePaul then modified the plans, but they still call for doing away with the homes. All of this was discussed recently at a meeting between DePaul officials and community members. Good Day DePaul's Adit Jagannathan has our report.
DePaul Athletics recently met with members of the Lincoln Park community to discuss their revised plans for the new athletics facility that's planned for the 2300 block of North Sheffield. Plans that some oppose because they require tearing down 4 old homes and an apartment building structure that some feel have historic and aesthetic value. DePaul Vice President and Director of Athletics Duane Peavy started off the meeting by discussing why he feels a new athletics facility is important for the university.
We need to do our part to get back to that level of national recognition. We need to be a household name and a true front porch of this great university. Uniquely, the university's athletic department is an asset for media reach and exposure. Whether we agree with it or not, it's much easier for an athletics department to garner media attention than our academic colleges and programs today.
The alderman of the 43rd Ward, Timmy Knudsen, spoke about the current state of the proposal.
In response to the feedback received at the last community meeting, as well as feedback that was sent to our office, the 43rd Ward office, by those in the community who could not attend last time in person, we asked DePaul to make significant changes to their first proposal. These changes were related to many things, including design, aesthetics, openness to the general student population, size, sustainability, and also commitments to the community on topics such as long-term preservation efforts and use by youth sports leagues.
The chief architect of the project, Joseph Antunovich, gave an overview of the new proposal.
We had a very successful public meeting a couple of months ago, and there were a number of suggestions made to improve the design of the building. Since then, we've met with the leadership of the various neighborhood groups, absorbed their comments and their suggestions. We've met with the alderman, and he had some suggestions too to improve the design. Everyone has suggestions to improve the design. So we have indeed done that.
The new proposal still requires the tearing down of the 5 buildings, but it now includes what DePaul calls a more transparent, student-friendly facade for the athletic building, setting it back 4 feet for a wider sidewalk, adding seating to the planters in front of the building, and adding a broadcast studio to the ground floor. To increase the environmental sustainability of the building, solar panels are going to be added to the roof to reduce energy consumption by 10%, along with bird-friendly glass, water reduction fixtures, and improved landscaping around the building. DePaul also said it would seek landmark status for 2 other buildings on campus. Despite these modifications, some still had concerns, including Brian Comer, the president of the Sheffield Neighborhood Association.
So we still have some concerns. We cherish our architecture here, not just on the north side of Chicago and in Lincoln Park and in Sheffield, but in the city of Chicago. specifically in our area, as one of our neighbors mentioned, that, people are knocking down gorgeous buildings. And right here you have 5 buildings, 2 of them being orange rated, but the other 2 are gorgeous 3-story walk-ups with stained glass windows. And, it adds to the neighborhood feel that DePaul cherishes, right? And that's made it such an attractive campus. We'd love to save our architecture. And we're looking forward to continuing the conversation with the university to see if that can happen.
Some feel the new facility will be a needed addition to the university.
So why are we spending so much time pushing back on this, which will be positive for us, what about the developers? I mean, frankly, I think that has a much more negative, a larger impact on our neighborhood than taking down 2 orange buildings and frankly, the apartment building that hasn't been very well kept at this corner.
DePaul student Tim Anderson gave a passionate speech in support of the project.
To go to Iowa. We made the trip to when DePaul played Iowa, and it was the most attended women's basketball game of all time. 55,000 people saw that game. You don't get a lot of students, a lot of applicants without the attention that we used to have. We were a superstation with WGN. So now when I speak about this from a basketball perspective, I'm not an athlete, but I care about it because I understand as a marketing student, as a honors marketing student, I'm a double major here. I'm doing everything marketing that there is to do at DePaul. I promise you that. The front porch reference that Dwayne keeps making is so that we can attract the most talent to DePaul, because that is what ultimately is the most outward-facing example and voice of our university to attract top talent and top students, and the reason that people want to be here.
PV felt the meeting was productive.
Well, I think it's always a good opportunity to be able to talk to our Lincoln Park neighbors. Me being a resident of Lincoln Park, even when we started this project over 2 years ago from an idea, that was the first thing. I wanted to do it the right way, whether it was successful or not. There's a lot of times I've been a part of that where you look up and some building's built and you don't even know how it got started. They've already broke ground on it. We didn't want to sneak in at the end of the night and try to get this done. We want to do it the right way, because I do think as much as it can be frustrating, it is an opportunity for everybody to benefit. And I think about it from our university. I keep telling people when DePaul wins from an athletic standpoint, the whole university wins. And let us prove it. Give us a chance to prove it, that we can all benefit from this. And it's not just while you're here, but once you leave, to be able to look back on your school with even more pride.
Discussions are set to continue over the coming months, with the university hoping to break ground next year. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Adar Jagannathan.
It's been a nightmare for many students and universities. It's called FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The federal government tried to simplify the process, but in doing so created new problems and many delays. Now DePaul officials are finally reporting some progress. They say that beginning around March 15th, they began receiving institutional student information records, and they've continued to see an increase in these records over the past few weeks. Still, they're 27% behind last year. Despite this, they began sending student loan awards notifications to incoming students in the last week or so. Also, they've extended the admissions and housing date to June 1st, giving incoming students more time to make enrollment decisions and weigh their college choice options.
Next on Good Day DePaul, the DePaul men's tennis team, the Band of Brothers, has more late season success.
That story and more next on Good Day DePaul Sports.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links living organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the United States, 22 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you are someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com, home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
Max Raymond is here now with Good Day DePaul Sports. Max?
Hannah, for the third time in 4 years, the DePaul men's tennis team is the Big East champ.
And now Iaquinto wins it in general. DePaul is back on top.
Entering the Big East men's tennis tournament as the 2 seed, the Blue Demons took down Villanova 4-0, Georgetown 4-3, and rival St. John's 4-2 en route to their third title in 4 years. In the finals, DePaul dropped the doubles point but remained unfazed. Junior Sven Moser said they had already been in this position before.
We actually already lost the doubles point in the semis against Georgetown, and we just kind of stayed calm because we knew what we were practicing for, and we knew that we have the potential to come out strong in singles, so it was just super important to have a good start, which we got. We brought a lot of energy.
After regrouping for the singles matches, Moser got the Blue Demons on the board first, winning in straight sets 6-3, 6-3 to even the matches at 1. Shortly after, two-time Big East Player of the Year Vito Tonic won 6-1, 6-4, putting DePaul up 2-1. Then, sophomore Pablo Torres Almeida made it 3-1 after a back-and-forth match that went to the third and final set. But then St. John's came back, making it 3-2 before junior Mateo Iaquinto closed it out for the Blue Demons, winning 6-4, 4-6, 6-3. After winning back-to-back Big East titles in 2021 and 2022, DePaul took a step back last year, bowing out in the first round of the tournament. However, head coach Matt Brothers noticed entering this season his players were carrying extra motivation.
I think the loss and the disappointment of last year for a lot of these guys was just really more inspiring for them to just want to get back to where we were at from the previous year, and you really saw that in improvements made across the board, really, with like Sven Moser is the first guy that comes to mind. I mean, just tremendous amount of improvement from last year, just in this year alone. His doubles record, his singles play. Leon who played number 1 for most of the season. That's no easy task. Mateo, who he's really come along here this his junior year. Lots of pressure in those moments to be the guy that we need to pull through semis and finals. So yeah, I think that was just a real motivator for a lot of these guys, just to be better, be more of a part of it for some of them.
So, how does this title compare to the previous ones? Graduate student Leon Huck says he's proud of how the team evolved in order to win again.
Well, it's the last season for me, so it's a special one, definitely. First time here. I was a junior transfer, and super happy we got it done. But this one is even more special because we grew as a team, and we had one goal in mind, and we got it done.
Iaquinto, a freshman on the 2022 championship team, says this one feels different.
For me, the first one felt way better, personally, because it was a new feeling. This year was mainly a relief for me, especially being last guy on court. It was mainly a relief.
For Good Day DePaul, I'm Max Raymond. It's been a tough season for the DePaul softball team. They recently dropped their final home game against Illinois. Good Day DePaul Samantha Davis was there.
The DePaul softball team played their final home game of the season at Cacciatore Stadium on April 23rd in a non-conference game against Illinois. New men's basketball coach Chris Holtman exchanged some words with the softball team and threw out the first pitch. DePaul entered the game with an 8-32 overall record, hoping to secure a win one last time in Chicago. However, due to some errors and strikeouts, the Blue Demons fell short 7-4, extending their losing streak to 9 games. DePaul right-hander Brenna Smith was on the mound for 6 of the 7 innings. The Blue Demons had a strong defensive start, making good plays on the first 2 outs with a catch from third baseman Carly Alvers and shortstop Bibiana Rodriguez. However, Illinois got on the board first, with a runner coming home on a throw down to second. In the bottom of the inning, DePaul first baseman Brooke Johnson got the Blue Demons going with a single to center. Outfielder Ariana Rodriguez advanced Johnson, but the inning ended with a strikeout and ground out. In the second, both teams went down in order, with Illinois still up 1-0. In the top of the third, the Illini hit a double. But DePaul pitcher Brenna Smith got out of it with a ground out to the mound, a pop fly to center, and another nice play by Alvers to end the inning. DePaul got on the board in the bottom of the third after freshman Morgan Rogers walked and stole second. Brooke Johnson then smashed a 2-run homer to center, giving the Blue Demons a 2-1 lead. In the top of the fourth, DePaul's defense again came up big. After Illinois got a runner on first and advanced her to second with a bunt, the DePaul outfield made some nice plays to keep the Blue Demons in front. In the bottom of the inning, the Illini got 2 quick outs on a pop fly to right and a grounder to third. DePaul's Peyton Viles then doubled to left. But Gracie Jacobs struck out to end the inning. Then, trouble for DePaul in the fifth, with Illinois going up 3-2 on a 2-run homer with 1 out. DePaul coach Tracy Attic-Zins went to the mound to talk things over. The Blue Demons then stopped the damage by throwing out an Illinois runner at second and striking out the next hitter. DePaul had a chance to take the lead back in the bottom of the fifth. Rogers was hit by a pitch and stole second. Brooke Johnson walked, but the next 3 Blue Demons all grounded out. In the sixth, things got out of control for DePaul. A dropped fly ball in right brought in 1 run. And minutes later, a dropped throw to second led to another run. And then it all came crashing down with an Illini 2-run homer to left. Coach Attic-Zins went to her bullpen and brought in graduate Abby Pocky, who pitched the rest of the game. DePaul bounced back in the bottom of the inning with a Carly Alvers double to left center, scoring Ava Paganis from second. Then it was Brooke Quick's turn as her hit brought in the second run of the inning. That led to an Illinois pitching change. DePaul's Morgan Rogers kept things going by stealing second, her 3rd steal of the game. But with runners on first and second, the inning came to a quick end on a pop fly to center. With Illinois leading 7-4 in the 7th and final inning, DePaul kept things close by getting 3 quick outs, 2 made by shortstop Bibiana Rodriguez and 1 from Alvers. In the bottom of the 7th, it all ended quickly with 3 back-to-back DePaul strikeouts. The game was senior catcher Riley Poole's last time playing in Lincoln Park, where emotions ran high after the game.
Personally, I'm a little emotional because I'm a senior, and I just am thinking back on all of my time spent here with my team and all the amazing memories we've had together, and I'm just thinking about how much I'm going to miss it.
Poole said the theme of the game was to go out and have a good time with her teammates for one final time at home.
My number one priority today was just to have fun with my team and compete as much as we could and try to bring out a W, and if not, just leave it all out on the field.
Coach Attic-Zins said this final home game was bittersweet and just wants the best for her seniors.
Obviously, it's always sad when it's your last home game for the year, and what you want to give your seniors is this is their last game. But no, just I think I'm still processing it all, so just kind of taking it all in and then figuring out what the next steps are from here.
Coach then talked about her hopes going forward into the Big East tournament.
Really take advantage of going in. I mean, again, it's the play loose, have fun. We don't have anything to lose right now, so play more relaxed instead of applying pressure to themselves. So that's kind of our focus going into the next 2 weekends.
For Good Day DePaul, I'm Samantha Davis.
The Blue Demons men's basketball team has added another transfer, landing 6'10" center David Skogman. Scogging played previously at Buffalo and Davidson and averaged 13 points and almost 5 rebounds in 17 games last year for Davidson. Meanwhile, 4 players from last year's DePaul team have transferred to other schools. Senior Jeremiah Oden is going to Charlotte, while sophomore Jaden Henley will be taking his talents to UNLV. And guard Jalen Terry and forward Deshaun Nelson both are transferring to Central Michigan. Finally, new coach Chris Holtman has been busy adding to his coaching staff, bringing in former Butler and Milwaukee head coach LaVall Jordan to serve as an assistant coach and the program's general manager. Holtman also hired Brandon Bailey to be an assistant coach. In women's track and field, DePaul's Cash Allen has been named Big East Field Athlete of the Week after winning her 3rd straight shot put competition at the recent Gibson Invitational. Allen posted a new personal best distance of 15.21 meters. And that's sports. Back to you, Michaela.
Thanks, Max. Coming up, the Big Fest reveal.
Stay with us.
Today, the heroes that fight day in and day out on the front lines. Those who are there, innovating in real time, saving lives and answering the call to care in times of crisis. American nurses. Nurses who have been there for each and every one of us in times of crisis for more than 150 years. Nurses are the pillar of strength and the foundation of healthcare and life itself. Nurses are there the day we are born. They are there when your family is in crisis, and they are there in the end. In confronting the most catastrophic health crisis in modern history, we must remember our American nurse heroes need our support as much as we need them. To show our gratitude for their courage and ensure they receive the critical education and support services they need, donate to the Coronavirus Response Fund for Nurses today, in honor of your American nurse hero.
It's official. We now know the headliner for Fest. It's going to be rapper Sway Lee. The Big DePaul concert will be held on May 17th at the Lincoln Park Quad.
That's all for this week's edition of Good Day DePaul. You can keep up with us by visiting our Vimeo channel at Good Day DePaul or by going to goodday.depaul.edu.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook.
And if you have any news tips, message us through the Good Day DePaul social media channels.
Thanks for watching. I'm Michaela Wilson.
And I'm Hannah Lopez. Have a good day, DePaul.